Welcome back, everybody, to Tell Me More Stories Told Us podcast. And today we're going to be diving into the career of Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think of him and they think, oh, the bear.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's so much more to him.
Oh, absolutely.
There's so much depth and so much history.
He's been working forever, really.
Well, it's ever.
Since he was a kid.
And that's what I think is so fun about these deep dives.
Yeah.
You get to peel back the layers and you're like,
Exactly.
oh, wow, I didn't realize. I think this is one of the things that I was most surprised to learn. Jeremy Allen White was a dancer.
Oh, he was a serious dancer.
Like a serious dancer before he ever considered acting.
Holy.
Ballet, jazz, tap, all of it.
It's true. And I think that background really informs his work.
Oh, for sure.
You see a certain physicality.
Yes.
A grace in his performances that you don't always get.
Absolutely.
With actors who haven't had that kind of movement training.
I think that's a really good point because I never really thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But it's so true. All that discipline
Absolutely.
and body awareness just translates beautifully to the screen.
Exactly. It's subtle, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
You know when you see it.
So let's kind of rewind a little bit.
Okay.
And go back and trace this path a little bit.
Okay.
So Jeremy Allen White, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah.
Those early years were all about dance.
Yeah.
And then at the age of 13.
Oh, he had this sort of aha moment.
Yeah.
And decided to give acting a shot.
It's like, I'm going to try this other thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it changed the trajectory of his life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. He enrolled in the Professional Performing Arts School in Manhattan.
Wow.
And never looked back.
It's so interesting when you think about those moments in our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like
that one little decision.
That one little decision sends you on a whole other...
Exactly. And in White's case, that path led him to some pretty remarkable roles.
Let's talk about Shameless.
Okay.
Because I think this is where a lot of people first encountered Jeremy Allen White.
Totally.
As Lip Gallagher.
Yeah.
The smart but troubled son in this chaotic Chicago family.
A very chaotic family.
11 seasons.
11 seasons. That was a huge hit for Showtime.
Huge hit.
It was this really raw,
yes,
unapologetic look at a working-class family, struggling to make ends meet.
Really struggling.
And it really resonated with audiences.
And it really did.
Yeah.
And Lip was such a complex character.
Yeah, he really was.
I mean, he was this brilliant kid.
So much potential.
So much potential, but he was constantly battling his own demons.
Yeah.
And making these impulsive decisions.
Yeah. It's the kind of role that could so easily become a caricature.
Yes.
But Jeremy Allen White brought such depth and nuance to it.
I agree.
You understood Lip,
yeah,
even when you were frustrated by him.
Yes. And I also think that the fact that White played Lip for all 11 seasons.
11 seasons.
It really speaks volumes about his commitment to the character.
Absolutely. You could see him growing and evolving alongside Lip over those years.
And then the bear happened.
The bear, it was a whole different kind of intense, though.
It was intense in a different way.
Different way.
And I feel like the bear was like a cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, it was, I mean, suddenly everybody was talking about beef sandwiches.
Yes.
And the crazy pressure cooker atmosphere of these restaurant kitchens.
I mean, the show was so good.
It really was.
And I just thought Jeremy Allen White as Carmi Brazato was just mesmerizing. He's completely inhabited that character's anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
His grief. His determination to turn things around.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about a departure from Lip.
Totally different.
Like, totally different.
And the dedication that both he and Ayo Edebiri,
oh my God,
who plays Sydney, brought to those roles.
Yes.
I mean, they went to culinary school to prepare for the bear.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They really did, yeah.
Talk about immersive acting.
It really shows on screen.
It totally does.
Heck yeah.
It's like the way they move in the kitchen.
Totally.
The way they handle the knives. The way they even talk about food.
Totally.
You just believe them.
You completely believe they're chefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the awards recognition for the bear speaks for itself.
I mean, he won a Golden Globe and an Emmy for his performance as Carmi.
It's incredible.
Which is amazing.
I mean, it's incredible, but at the same time, when you think about the impact that the show had, it's not surprising.
Not surprising.
And speaking of impact, before we move on any further, I just want to say, if you guys are enjoying this deep dive into Jeremy Allen White's career, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future episodes.
That's right. We've got some really good ones coming up.
All right, back to Jeremy Allen White.
Okay.
So we talk about Shameless and the Bear.
Yeah.
But what's next for him?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
Buckle up.
Yeah.
Because he's taking on a role that's sure to generate a lot of buzz.
Okay.
Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been cast as the boss himself
What?
in this upcoming biopic, Deliver Me from Nowhere.
Wow.
Directed by Scott Cooper.
I mean, this is such a bold choice.
It is.
I have to admit, I'm so curious to see how he pulls this off.
Yeah, I'm too.
Because it is such a departure from his recent work.
It is. But, I think that's what makes it so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that he's not afraid to take risks and challenge himself as an actor.
So here's my first question.
Okay.
Can he sing?
Well, I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, okay.
But what I do know is that both Bruce Springsteen and his longtime manager, John Landau, are involved in the production of Deliver Me from Nowhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
It's pretty incredible.
Like to have that level of access and input from the source himself. I mean, it speaks volumes about the trust they have in Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah, it really does.
To portray Springsteen authentically.
It adds another layer of intrigue to the whole project,
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, from the gritty streets of Chicago and Shameless to the high-pressure world of fine dining in The Bear.
Totally.
And now stepping into the shoes of a rock icon.
Rock icon.
I mean, Jeremy Allen White's career has been anything but predictable.
It really has. And you know what? That's what makes him such a fascinating subject for a deep dive.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to push boundaries and explore all these different facets of his talent.
Yeah, for sure. And we are just getting started with this exploration.
Oh, yeah.
We have only scratched the surface of Jeremy Allen White's story.
Exactly.
There's so much more to uncover, and we'll do just that in part 2.
Yes, we will. Stay tuned.
Of this deep dive.
Welcome back to part 2 of our deep dive into Jeremy Allen White.
I'm so glad to be back.
Me too. Lots more to talk about.
So much more to talk about.
And I think, picking up where we left off, I think we have to talk about this whole Springsteen thing.
Yes, Deliver Me from Nowhere.
Deliver Me from Nowhere, right? It's not just a music biopic.
Right.
This is a really deep dive into the creative process behind Springsteen's 1982 album, Nebraska, which was this raw, introspective record that kind of marked a departure from his earlier sound. And to have Springsteen himself and his longtime manager, John Landau, directly involved in the film is remarkable.
Yeah.
Really. To have that level of access and input from the source himself.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about the trust they must have in Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine the conversations that are happening behind the scenes.
Oh, absolutely. It's a level of authenticity that you don't always see in biographical films.
Right.
And I think it speaks to White's ability to connect with the essence of a character. It's not just mimicry.
Right.
It's embodiment. Which, brings us to something else that I think is really fascinating about Jeremy Allen White.
Okay.
His sort of foray into fashion.
Okay.
He became a global ambassador for Calvin Klein underwear earlier this year.
Yeah, those photos were everywhere.
They were everywhere.
Those were great photos.
And the impact of that campaign was pretty undeniable.
Yeah.
I mean, it generated millions in media value.
It's true. It shows you the power of his image and his appeal beyond just acting.
It really does.
It's interesting to see him kind of become this unexpected style icon.
Totally.
And to see how that aspect of his persona is evolving alongside his acting career.
It's all part of the Jeremy Allen White story, right?
Right.
But speaking of stories, I think we got to circle back to The Bear for a minute.
Okay.
Because its impact on television and pop culture just can't be overstated.
Yeah, I agree.
Belief about family legacy, about the relentless pressure, this high-stakes environment.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it wasn't just a show about food.
Exactly.
Because it was so much more than that.
It was, and it captured all of that with this raw, kinetic energy that you rarely see on television.
Yeah.
It was like being dropped right into the heart of that kitchen.
It was.
Feeling the heat, the urgency, the chaos.
And Jeremy Allen White as Carmy was the anchor.
Oh, he was incredible. He was incredible.
Of it all.
Yeah, he conveyed so much with just a look, a gesture.
Yes.
The way he embodied Carmy's anxiety, his drive, his almost obsessive need for control.
Yes.
It was captivating.
It was. And again, I go back to this range that he has as an actor, because you think about Carmy. You think about Lip.
totally different.
They're so different.
The energy is different. The physicality is different. The emotional landscape is different. And yet he navigates those complexities with such nuance and authenticity.
It makes you wonder what he's going to bring to the role of Springsteen.
Oh, I know.
Who's another character known for his intensity and his connection to working class struggles.
Totally.
And his almost mythic status.
Exactly. It's a fascinating parallel.
It is.
And I think it speaks to White's ability to tap into something deeper.
Yeah.
Something universal in the characters that he portrays.
Now, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, there's another aspect of Jeremy Allen White's career that I think deserves a closer look. And that's his work in independent film.
Yeah.
He's been quietly building a really solid filmography for years.
He really has.
Choosing projects that showcase his versatility and his willingness to take risks.
That's a great point. You know, there's a film called Fremont that was released earlier this year. It's a much quieter, more introspective film than The Bear. But White's performance is just as compelling.
Interesting.
He plays a former U.S. Army translator who's struggling to adjust to civilian life after serving in Afghanistan.
Wow.
It's a role that demands a different kind of intensity. This quiet anguish that's like palpable in every scene.
Wow.
It's a testament to his range and his ability to inhabit characters.
Right.
That are so vastly different from the ones he's become known for.
It's like he's deliberately seeking out these roles.
Yeah.
That challenge him, that push him outside his comfort zone.
That's what makes him such an interesting actor to watch.
Yeah.
He's not content to rest on his laurels.
Right.
He's always striving to grow and evolve.
Speaking of growth and evolution, there's another project on the horizon that has me particularly intrigued.
Oh, tell me about it.
It's called The Iron Claw.
Yes.
And it tells the true story of the Von Erich family.
Oh, yeah.
This dynasty of professional wrestlers who dominated the sport in the 1980s.
They really did.
But also faced a series of personal tragedies.
A really tragic story.
Jeremy Allen White's going to be playing Kerry Von Erich, who was one of the most famous and beloved members of the family.
It's a role that demands both physicality and emotional depth.
I agree.
And I have a feeling White will bring a raw vulnerability to it.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see him. I mean, you talk about a departure from the world of hot cuisine and rock icons.
Oh,
it's like
professional wrestling.
Professional wrestling.
Totally different.
So different.
It suggests that he's not afraid to explore different genres.
Right.
And really challenge audience expectations.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You mentioned earlier that Jeremy Allen White's career has been anything but predictable.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great segue into discussing his personal life.
Yeah.
Because life rarely follows a neat linear path, right?
It really doesn't. And Jeremy Allen White's personal life is no exception.
Right.
He was married to actress Addison Timlin.
Okay.
Whom he met way back in 2008 while filming the movie After School.
Oh.
They have 2 daughters together, but unfortunately, they recently went through a divorce.
It's sad, but it's a reminder that even those in the spotlight face real-life challenges and heartbreak and transitions.
It's important to acknowledge that, isn't it? The human side of these stories, you know?
Yeah.
We often get caught up in the glamour and the accolades, but behind it all, these are real people navigating the complexities of life, just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of complexities, following his divorce from Addison Timlin, Jeremy Allen White was briefly linked to the Spanish singer Rosalía.
Rosalía. That got a lot of buzz in the media.
It was a short-lived relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely generated a lot of headlines.
It's a reminder that fame and relationships often intersect in ways that can be both fascinating and challenging.
And more recently, he's been spotted with The Bear co-star Molly Gordon.
Molly Gordon.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll see
how things unfold there.
Yeah. But regardless of what happens in his personal life, one thing's for sure, Jeremy Allen White is a talent to watch.
He is.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling we're just scratching the surface.
I agree.
Of what he's capable of achieving.
And that's what I think is so rewarding about these deep dives. You know, we're not just recounting a list of accomplishments.
Exactly.
We're actually witnessing the evolution of an artist, the unfolding of a story that's still being written.
It's a story filled with passion, dedication, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
And it's a story that we're eager to follow chapter by chapter.
I love that.
So, before we jump into the final part of our Jeremy Allen White deep dive, I got to remind everybody, if you are enjoying this journey of discovery, hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
We've got so many more fascinating stories lined up for you.
Yes, we do.
Stories that will make you think, make you feel, make you want to say.
Tell me more.
Tell me more.
I love it. All right, well, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll be right back with the final part.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the life and career of Jeremy Allen White.
And it's funny, I was thinking during the break.
Okay.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
But the thing that keeps coming back to me is this through line of dedication that runs through his entire career.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
Whether he's like mastering ballet
or
disappearing into a character like Carmy, Jeremy Allen White, approaches everything with just this remarkable level of commitment.
It's true. And I think you could see it in the choices that he makes, too.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not afraid to take risks.
No.
To push himself creatively.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Okay.
From the raw intensity of Shameless to the pressure cooker of The Bear. And now stepping into the shoes of Bruce Springsteen.
It's not a career path you see every day.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, what draws him to these particular roles?
It's a good question. I think there's a certain intensity, but a vulnerability that connects Lip and Carmy.
Yes.
And even Springsteen in a way.
I agree with that.
Wouldn't you say?
They're all kind of wrestling with their own demons, their own internal struggles. And Jeremy Allen White just has this uncanny ability to tap into that emotional core.
Absolutely. He makes you feel their pain, their longing, their triumphs,
And that's what makes him more than just a talented actor.
Yeah.
He's an artist.
He is.
He's a storyteller who connects with us on this deeper level.
I think that's the key. He makes us feel something.
Yes.
And, we can't wrap up this deep dive without acknowledging, I think, the elephant in the room.
What's that?
Or rather, the bear in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
The Bear.
Yeah, The Bear, I mean...
It wasn't just a hit show.
No, it was a cultural phenomenon.
Oh, I mean, suddenly everybody was talking about Italian beef sandwiches.
Yes.
And the chaos of restaurant life.
It's true.
And the emotional roller coaster that is Carmy Brasato.
What do you think it was about The Bear?
Yeah.
That resonated so deeply with people?
I think it tapped into this collective anxiety that so many of us feel in our own lives.
Interesting.
This sense of pressure and urgency. Like we're all just constantly trying to keep up, to stay afloat.
Yeah, that's true.
And The Bear really captured that feeling of being on the edge.
Yeah, and it did it in a way that I think felt really fresh.
Fresh and immediate.
Yeah, I mean, those long takes, the close-ups on the food.
Totally.
The tension in the kitchen.
The palpable tension. You could feel it.
It was immersive.
It was...
almost voyeuristic in a way.
And then there's the emotional core of the story.
Right.
The Bear is not afraid to tackle grief and loss and the complexities of family relationships.
Yeah.
And those are themes that resonate with everyone.
It's true. And at the center of it all was Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah.
Giving this performance that was both electrifying and heartbreaking.
Oh, he was incredible.
It really was a career-defining role for him.
It was.
I mean, a Golden Globe, an Emmy.
Those are accolades.
Those are huge.
Yeah.
And they reflect, I think, the power and impact of his performance.
I think it's safe to say that Jeremy Allen White's star is still very much on the rise.
Yeah, with Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Yeah.
And the Iron Claw on the horizon.
It seems like he's just not afraid to challenge himself
Yeah.
and keep pushing those boundaries.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into the life and career of Jeremy Allen White, what's the takeaway?
I think the takeaway is that he's more than just a talented actor.
Yeah.
He's a dedicated artist.
Yeah.
He's a risk taker. He's a storyteller. And he connects with us on this really deep emotional level.
It's true. He's someone who's constantly evolving and challenging himself.
Yeah.
And pushing the boundaries of his craft.
Yeah. That's what makes him so interesting to watch.
Yeah. And I love what you said earlier about his story being a reminder that life is a journey.
It is.
Full of these unexpected turns.
Absolutely.
Exciting possibilities.
And you know what? I can't wait to see where this journey takes him next.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
We have.
Thank you all so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
And we hope you've enjoyed this exploration into the world of Jeremy Allen White.
And remember, there are so many more fascinating stories out there waiting to be told.
That's right. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep telling your own stories.